Brakatah Yahweh Shai. Brakatah Yahweh. Brakatah Yahweh Shai. I want to get all honors and praise and glory to Yahweh, by Hashem, Yahweh Shai, by Hashem, Wakakadash. Double honors to the apostles and the elders of Great Millstone. Peace and blessings to the elect that's pushing this work. You know, I'm trying to go on this thing through the spirit. First time live streaming, y'all gotta bear with me. It's about, you know, I'm going to say about spiritual, you know, had a spiritual dream. I had one, and my brother also had a spiritual dream also. So, I'm going to go to the photos so I can. So, my brother, I'm going to go with his dream first, you know, because it coincides with my dream. I had mine first, but the dream he had, like the beginning, and my dream was the ending. So, you know, he said, this how he explained it to me. And I also have a couple of precepts that I'm going to read after I go tell you about the dream. So, standing inside of some kind of vessel of some sort. And he said it was like either looking out a window or looking at a screen, like a movie screen or something. And he said as he was gazing at it, when he looked out, it had a body of water. And he said the water was so clear, you could see through the water. You could see the bottom, you could see through it. And in the middle of the bodies of water, it had a narrow path. And at the end of the path, a well there. And it had a voice kept telling him to go on the path and drink from the well. And it also was telling him, but if you still on that bridge, by nightfall, the water would turn back into holy water. So he also said that it had someone standing there with him, but he couldn't see who it was. But he knew someone was standing on the side of him. Key words, remember that. So in the blink of an eye, he ended up on the bridge. That's what you see in this next photo. He was on the bridge, standing on the bridge with the two bodies of water, clear blue water, and that voice kept saying, "Go to the bridge and drink from the well. But if you're on that bridge by nightfall, the water will turn back into holy water." So I didn't really, spirit didn't come across me to get a precept for this spirit that he came forth in front of before he tried to attempt to walk across the bridge. What you see there, it was a dark entity that was trying to stop him from going across the bridge. So he actually was fighting with that dark spirit. So he ended up beating the dark spirit, and the dark spirit disappeared. But he said he couldn't just walk across the bridge. So he said that he had to, stand straight up, put both his hands on his left and right side straight down, and he had to take small steps on that narrow bridge. That's how narrow the bridge was. So he said in the midst of him doing so, when he was going across the bridge, he ended up slipping, and his foot fell into that clear blue water. And when he slipped inside the water, he noticed that the water went up to his ankles, where he was able to walk on that water. Enough to the point where he wasn't going to fall down in the water. He was able to walk on top of the water. So he stepped back on the bridge, and he kept going, about his business on that mission. So the next thing he said happened, he got this next photo I'm about to show you. He got crossed there, and when he got crossed there, he ended up on a platform. Now the picture changed. In front of him, it still had that blue, crystal clear water, and so when he got on that platform, he said he turned around, he looked behind him, it was a raft there, but the raft was flat. So he also said that he noticed the well is running, but he said, when you're on the body of water, some things will look closer than they appear. So he said, if I go on this bridge and I keep on going, I may not never reach to that. I may not never reach to the well, And he didn't want to find out what the words were saying. If you be on that bridge by nightfall, the water will turn back into holy water. So he turned around and said, forget that, I'm finna go back. So he like, man, the raft flat. So he like, you know what, I'm gonna just float on that raft. So when he went to go reach for the raft, he said he looked up. It was a blind white man. The white man was blind, had his head upright, holding on to the raft. So he said in the midst of him trying to grab the raft, he having a tug of war with the so-called white man for the raft. And he telling the white man, like, look, man, let this raft go. Let it go. I need this raft to get back. Where I'm going. Let it go. So the white man didn't move. He didn't hear him. He just tugged and war with him. He said for a long period of time, the sun started going down. So in the midst of that, he said, you know what, forget it. I don't know why he didn't think to go back on the bridge. But I think he said the bridge disappeared, and it was just a raft and water. So he said, forget it. When he jumped in the water, this time when he turned around and jumped in the water was not crystal clear blue anymore. It was blue, but it was kind of dark light. So he jumped in it, and he swam back to land. So, and I was like, well, how you was able to jump back in the water? The water had returned back deep, where he was actually could swim. And, so he really, couldn't really explain. And I'm going to go through his precepts first with his dream. Shalakia. Okay, I'm going to go to, we're going to go to Matthew. Book of Matthew. Chapter 7. Verse 14. Because straight is the gate, and narrow is the way, which leadeth unto life, and few there be that find it. So that's like, that's why I say, when he said in his dream he couldn't walk. The path was so narrow. He had to walk on a narrow path, But he was kind of confused of why the path was so narrow, because that was that way. Because, I've been talking to him, been going to camp with the brothers of GMS, and I've been, talking to, my brother, and he kind of harking on to the word. So he actually had that spiritual dream where he had a choice. You got this narrow path, 26. And the angel of the Lord of the Most High went further and stood in a narrow place where was no way to turn either to the right hand or to the left. Right. So when he was on that bridge, that narrow bridge, it wasn't nowhere for him to go. It was bodies of water all around him. Once he ended up on that bridge, he couldn't turn left or he couldn't turn right. He had to go straight on that narrow path. That's spiritual, Call all Yahweh by Shem Yahushua, by Shem Kakadas. And I'm going to go down to Numbers chapter 22, verse 31. Then the Most High opened the eyes of Balaam, and he saw the angel of the Most High standing in the way. So, the Spirit, brought me to that verse. So that entity that was standing in front of him, that was standing in his way. It could be, to this precept, and whatever he put it like this, whatever he's doing in his life, that was standing in his way. That was an angel standing in his way. And also, because like I say, he had a fight with him. They was fighting physically. He was having a physical fight, and he was in a dream, eyes open, and he was awake. He could feel himself physically fighting that angel, and his sword drawn in his hand, and he bowed down his head and fell flat on his face. Because remember, I said he won. He won that battle with that. He won that battle, and basically, he won that battle. He was able to continue on that narrow path. Now I'm gonna go to let's go to Second Ezra. That's an apocrypha. Chapter 7, Second Ezra, chapter 7, verse 12. Then were the entrance of this world made narrow, for full of sorrow and travail, they are but few and evil, full of perils and very painful. Because when I said he had that scuffle at the beginning. And then when he made it halfway across there, he had another sorrow and a travailance. When he had and that evil when he was having tug of war with the so-called white man for that wrath to return where he came from. And that's basically how that's how it went with him. That's how it went. So. And this last one to close out his dream, I'm gonna go to Second Ezra chapter 7, verse 4. But put the case, the entries were narrow and like a river. You know what I'm saying? See, it was that body of river, and it had that narrow narrow split in between the river. So it was like, but put the case, the entrance were narrow and like a river. That body of water that was in his dream. So now, I'm going to go to my spiritual dream. Bear with me, brothers. Let me get the photo. And this, what my dream, you can look at this picture here, you can receive it. Now, in my dream, now I knew physically, my brother was standing on the side of me. We was in a vessel of some sort. We was like looking out of a screen. A screen, a window, I don't know what it was. But for us, as you can see, it was a body of water, a blue, clear body of water. It was blue. The water was so clear you could see through it. And when I looked up out the sky, it came a bright, it was, I had used yellow, but it was so bright. The ball was so bright, and the flames coming from behind it was as bright as like a light, not the sunlight, like a pure light, and it hit the water. And then when I looked to my right, it had a black glass shaped it where it was kind of shaped funny, like a half or something. It was like it looked like a ball of glass or whatnot, and behind it, it was the same color as whatever that was fell out the sky. Was the same thing. It had that black grayish color coming from behind it, and that hit the water. And in the midst of that hitting the water, I'm jumping up and down, telling my brother, like, I told you. But on the right hand side, you can look at the buildings on fire. You can see, people running, tall buildings collapsing. I mean, everything was going on. But when that pure bright light hit the water, it splashed in the water. But when that dark glass and matter looking, when it hit the water, it stayed on top, and it just bubbled up and just sunk down in the water. That's basically what happened. So I got a couple of precepts for my dream. We're gonna go to right here. We're gonna go to the Book of Revelation. And a mighty angel took up a stone like a great millstone and cast it into the sea, saying, thus with violence shall that great city Babylon be thrown down, and shall be found no more at all. I mean, you know, that's basically when that big bright light, that big stone, that big bright ball, or that big stone, you know, that's basically, you know what I'm saying, what I seen in my dream, that when it was cast, you know, came clean out the sky, you know, and for the more that black glass looking substance, I you know, the Most High, you know what I'm saying, he put it through the Spirit, he led me to this verse for that one. I'm gonna go to the book of Job. The book of Job, chapter 37. Chapter 37, verse 18. Chapter 37, verse 18. Hast thou with him spread out the sky, which is strong as a molten glass? You know what I'm saying? Remember in the dream what I said, when that black substance it hit the water, it started bubbling. It didn't splash, no splash. When it hit it was like melted. It was like bubbles melted, like when it hit the water. Hast thou with him spread out the sky? It came out the sky, which is strong and as a molten looking glass. And it had me puzzled as well. You know, when it came out, and I was like, what the heck? You know, what is that? You know. And so I was kind of confused on it when that light came down, but when that dark substance came and it hit the water, it was like, I'm like, that's water, it's melting on top of water. Why is it melting? And I see it is. I'm gonna read 19. Teach us what we shall say unto him, for we cannot order our speech by reason of darkness. You know, that's basically, I guess, you know, the Spirit telling me that that's basically what that was. You know, and got another precept. I'm finna go back in Apocrypha, Ecclesiasticus. Ecclesiasticus, chapter 17. 1 and 32. What is brighter than the sun? Yet the light thereof faileth, and flesh and blood will imagine evil. Verse 32. He vieweth the power of the high. He vieweth the power of the height of heaven, and all men are but earth and ashes. Remember when I seen the dream, and on the right hand side it had a lot of people, you know, buildings collapsing, a lot of stuff on fire, people running, you know, actually people was on fire. But in the midst of all that happened, we were standing inside something, looking out a window or looking at some sort of at a screen, you know. We was looking, and we seeing everything that was going on. We were seeing everything that was actually going on, but we wasn't getting harmed at all. And go to Ezekiel, another precept. Here it say, thy riches and thy fares, thy merchandise, thy mariners and thy pilots, thy chalkers and the occupiers of the merchandise, and all thy men of war that are in thee, and all thy company which is in the midst of thee shall fall into the midst of the seas in that day of thy ruin. You know, and that's actually, you know, all that occurring around the bodies of water, and also, you know, that's all that chaos that was going on the right side. You know, the Spirit brought that precept right there upon me. And, you know, and also when you know, when my brother had his, you know, his dream, he said at the end of his dream, when he returned back into that, you know, into that vessel or whatever we were standing in, he was standing in, with me and he was together. Because in my dream, I was looking out that same window, and I knew my brother was on the side of me. But in his dream, he didn't know that I was on the side of him because he couldn't see who I was. But he knew someone was there. he said when he made it swam back, when he raised up out the water, he ended up back inside whatever we were standing inside of, looking back out that same window or looking back at that same screen. And he said that spirit, the angel or that spirit that he had a fight with was walking back towards the water with the raft in his hand. And then this last precept, it coincides with me and his dream put together. It's in the second Esdras, Wakakadas.